In a faraway kingdom lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. Her skin was white as snow, her hair black as coal, and her lips red as blood. But her evil stepmother, the queen, was jealous of her beauty. Every day the queen would ask her magic mirror, "My mirror, who is the fairest of all?" And the mirror would always reply, "You are the fairest, my lady." One day the mirror replied, "Snow White is the fairest, my queen." The queen was angry and ordered a hunter to take Snow White into the forest and kill her. But the hunter could not harm the kind princess, so he let her escape into the forest. Snow White got lost in the dark and green forest, feeling scared and alone. After a long walk, I found a strange little hut in the heart of the dense forest. I entered the cottage and found 7 small beds and a table with 7 plates on it. The cottage belonged to 7 good dwarfs who worked in a nearby mine. When the dwarfs returned to the cottage, they were surprised to find Snow White asleep. Snow White woke up and told them her sad story about the evil queen. The dwarfs felt sorry for her and invited her to stay with them in their small cottage. Snow White cooked and cleaned while the dwarfs went to work in the mine. They warned her not to open the door to any stranger for fear of the evil queen. But the queen learned that Snow White was still alive from her magic mirror. The queen disguised herself as an old apple seller and went to the dwarf's cottage. I knocked on the door, and Snow White opened it, forgetting the warnings of the good dwarfs. The queen offered her a bright red apple, poisoned with a deadly dose. Snow White took a bite of the apple and fell motionless to the ground. When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White lying on the ground, and they were distressed. They tried to wake her up in every way, but she did not respond, so they thought she was dead. They laid her in a beautiful glass coffin and guarded it with deep sorrow in the forest. Days passed, and one day a handsome prince rode past the glass coffin. He was impressed by the beauty of the sleeping Snow White and asked the dwarfs to tell her story. The prince felt a deep love for her and asked to take the coffin with him. While carrying the coffin, one of the dwarfs stumbled, and the poisoned apple fell from Snow White's throat. Snow White slowly opened her eyes, and life returned to her. The prince and the dwarfs rejoiced greatly at Snow White's return to life. The prince asked Snow White to marry him, and she happily agreed. A grand wedding was held in the kingdom, and they lived happily ever after. As for the evil queen, she learned what had happened and died of rage and envy. Snow White and the prince lived a life full of love and joy, and everyone remembered that good always triumphs over evil in the end.